Hello out there, everyone. Hello to my Mafians. Hello to all my new listeners and existing listeners. And hello, AJ, over in the sound booth. How are you today? Well, that's great to hear, AJ, and I am your host, as always, Tooclevermafia, and you are listening to the Tooclevermafia podcast. Wow, we have another great show in store, don't we, AJ, for everyone today? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do have a great show. Should we give a little bit of a teaser here in the intro? Yeah, well, okay. So we've gotten a lot of questions and show ideas given to us through Twitter and Instagram and all of our social media feeds. Be sure to follow us over at Tooclevermafia, TOO Clever Mafia, on all of them as well. We'll wait here for you to go do that right now. You can pause our show, or okay. Once you've done that, anyway, we've gotten a lot of these great ideas, and we one of them we brought was somebody wanted to do a show, us to do a show for cats versus dogs. You know, kind of listing the pros and cons, and well, I've got my favorite between the two. I'll tell you that much, AJ, and I know you have your favorite, and we don't agree, so no surprise there. But we are going to go through the lists that we've had, some of the pros and cons that our listeners have provided us on both sides of the argument, if you will. And I'm going to give you my opinions as usual. My Tooclevermafia armchair diagnosis, right? Yeah, just as we usually do here on the Tooclevermafia podcast. But before we get into all that, don't forget to check us out on the Tooclevermafia website. It's tooclevermafia.com. Like and subscribe on all our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, over on YouTube. Please, it helps us out a lot. We can always wait for you to do it. If you need some extra time, let us know. We'll wait. If you like what we do at the Tooclevermafia show, and this isn't your first rodeo and your first podcast episode that you're listening to of ours, well, definitely go back and check them all out, because there's some real great ones out there. And but you can support our show on Patreon over at obviously Tooclevermafia as well, and we would appreciate any and all donations. We have quite a few supporters, right, AJ, that'll allow us to continue to put this show on every single week, and every Friday we have a new episode. So be sure to come back, and if you like and subscribe, and you get those notifications so you don't miss out on the newest, latest and greatest, right, AJ, podcast episodes that we have to offer. And if you like any of our merchandise, you can head over to Teespring and pick yourself up a mug with my mug on it, or a t-shirt. AJ has been bothering me of late to put his face on something out there, but this isn't the AJ show. It is the Tooclevermafia podcast. So until that happens, AJ, I don't know if we're going to be broadcasting your mug anywhere anytime soon. But either way, if you're listening to us on Anchor or Spotify or Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, or Breaker, Radio Public, Bullhorn, don't forget to like and subscribe on the actual podcast app itself, which also helps us out tremendously, right? We're going to say tremendously. So sit back, relax, and get your pet if you want. Get your cat or your dog or bird, whatever you have, and you're going to go over some of the pros and cons we have for which pet is the best. Who's going to be the winner? Well, I don't know. I mean, I do know, because I know what my favorite is, and since this is my show, we're probably going to lean that way, right, AJ? No? Okay, maybe we'll put it to a vote. We'll put it to a vote on Twitter, and the most votes for either cats or dogs. No other pets, please. We can't go down the list. We don't have that much technical know-how to be able to rank 50,000 pets. But between cats and dogs, give us a shout out which one's your favorite. Maybe we'll post something up there in a little voting box thingamajig. And we will put all the votes together, tally them up, maybe give a t-shirt to one of you lucky podcast listeners who decide to participate and vote. Not voting in the politics, not voting in the real election coming up in November. in the United States. But I'm talking about voting, AJ, on whether you like cats or dogs. But either way, we will be right back after a short break. And cats and dogs, or we'll call it cats versus dogs, the pros and the cons. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Tooclevermafia, host of the Tooclevermafia podcast. Keep it going, AJ. I like this tune. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's enough, AJ. Let's fade her out. Hello, everyone. Hello, this is the Tooclevermafia podcast. You are listening to Tooclevermafia himself. Didn't know I had that little tune in me, did you, AJ? That was pretty great piano ballad there you had going on. I really lost myself in the music, if you will. But we are back. Hello, my Mafians. We are back, and we are going to discuss cats versus dogs today and the pros and cons that we kind of put together with our little list, right, AJ? Yeah. We had a lot of Twitter feedback. We had a lot of Facebook, and be sure to join and like and subscribe to all of our wonderful posts. We had some Instagram AJs telling me too, responses of what made their cat or their dog the best, and why we've gotten quite a few responses of types of dogs as well. We're not going to get into that too much, but types of dogs that are better than others, and people are saying their German Shepherd is so much better than other people's dog, and different types of breeds, Schnauzers, Lopsu, Apsu, and Shih Tzu, and all those crazy breeds. But Chihuahua, why they're Chihuahua? They're hairless Chihuahua. That's a crazy dog, right? The hairless Chihuahua. And but why their cats and dogs are good and why they're not so good. And we're going to go down the list here. That's what we're going to do today, AJ, right? We're going to go down the list, and AJ knows what I like already, and I don't know. Have I ever talked about that before on the show, AJ? No, I don't know. Anyway, well, you're gonna find out today. This is the exclusive Tooclevermafia. You're gonna find out if I'm a cat person or a dog person, or maybe both or neither. We'll find out. But we're gonna start off our list in no particular order. But we're gonna start with cats just because alphabetically they're first. So we're going to go with the pros, right? So here's some of the pros we came up with. You ready? You want a little drum roll here? No, we don't need that, right? No. So the pros of cats was what we kind of formulated and came up with here is the big one, the most common one we're getting is cats just don't need to be walked. You don't have to follow them around with your scooper. You don't have to take them out, hoping they do their business, one or two, you don't have to, in a rainstorm, get out there and get your coat on and drag your furry friend out there and let him do his or her business, which is a big plus because you don't have to do that with cats, right? You just don't. You kind of train them and then they do what they got to do when they got to do it. So that was a big cat pro that came through, and then. What's the next one here, AJ? We got the next one came up was no leashes. No leashes was a big one. I've seen cats with leashes before, though. I have seen cats with wearing leashes and collars and harnesses and whatnot. But generally speaking, cats don't wear or need a leash because you're not walking them around town. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think I've seen any of that. I think I saw that actually one time in New York City. Someone had their cat on a leash and was actually walking the cat. But, as far as the type of animal a cat is and how easily they can get out of a collar, I would imagine that probably is not too commonplace, right? Just have to wet my whistle there. And so that was number 2 that came up with the pros for a cat. Then number 3, no grooming, self-grooming. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Cats generally groom themselves. I think, from what I understand, a lot of people only give cats baths every so often. Most cats probably don't like the water. I don't think. Do they? No. Gagey's not too sure, neither am I. I don't think cats like the water too much. Not in my experience, anyway. They're not really water friends of the water, but they do tend to keep themselves clean. They're always licking and cleaning themselves and grooming themselves. Where you really, when you have a dog or something like that, you really can't expect them to do it. They don't. They just don't. They just don't. Um, so, and here's number four. So number four was a little bit controversial, but the they minim cats are a minimal. How did they word this here? Minimal injury liability to others. Basically saying that, aside from a small scratch or two, an occasional what they call love bites, cats are not going to tear a piece of your leg off or bite into your arm like a dog can. Not all dogs, not that hairless chihuahua we were talking about, but, they could be little ankle biters, but for the most part, dogs get bigger. I mean, unless you're going to have a mountain lion. A dog is as a house pet is going to be more of a liability. And I don't know about it. We did a show about insurance not too long ago. And I don't know if we ever really looked into that as far as the different rates for insurance and if you have a pet. So don't know really. Got to look into that, AJ. We got to check that out. Got to check that out. So those were the top four cat pros. There actually were like 40 more of them, but we kind of consolidated some of them into kind of like they do in the Family Feud when they put the top 5 answers on the board. Well, we kind of put the top 4 answers on the board because kind of made the ones that are a similar fit and threw some out because this who wants to sit here and listen to cat versus dog content for 4.5 hours? I don't. I know you don't, but you do like listening to Tooclevermafia and his podcast, so we're gonna we do know obviously now that we have a good majority of our listeners are either cat or dog or both or none. So there's something to be said there, but we're gonna go to the cat con list, and we're gonna go by the list, and then I'm gonna go over my experiences with the cats because I feel like it's important. So, on the cat con list, that sounds cat con. That sounds like it should be either a show or a movie, or kind of like what's that one? Comic Con. We'll call it Cat Con. I wonder if there is one like that. I don't know. I never looked. Maybe there's a convention for cats. I would imagine there are conventions for cats, but do they call it Cat Con? That's the question. I don't know. So get on that, AJ. Get our research team in the back to actually do some work and put down their coffee and donuts, and see if we can get back to me before this show is over. But so the cons for cats. So number one came up, the litter pan has to be changed. Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword because you don't have to worry with number one was a dog needed to be walked where a cat didn't. So having to change the litter pan, yeah, you have to. It does kind of get gross, but there's some really wonderful litter pans out there. I have dogs and cats. Just my Mafians don't know this. A lot of them know this, but there's the old-fashioned kind of sand litter that they have that the cats use, and then they track it all over the house, and then it clumps up, and you got to dispose of the clumps, which never works as they do in the commercial, right? But then we recently, Mrs. Mafia and I tried. There's like these little pellets, and the pellets absorb it, and there's this little pad that goes onto the litter box to take care of their number ones, and then the pellets kind of take care of the odor in the number two, and then you kind of scoop it up. But it basically it doesn't make a big mess. It stays in this litter pan, and the cat doesn't track it all over the house, which I like. I don't think the cat likes it, to be honest with you. I don't think my cat likes it because we'll get into that a little later. But he gets a little. I don't want to give it away, but we'll get into that shortly. But number two, cat cons are the cats can be vindictive, right? They are, and this actually goes to what I was just talking about with the litter pan. If the litter pan isn't just right, my cat will decide to if there's a rug or a towel on the bathroom floor, he'll use that instead as over. But he does it in such a way that I feel he's doing it purposely. Yeah, He's doing it because he's like, hey, listen, this isn't the way I like it. So I'm going to do it here, and you're going to figure it out. Which leads to number 3 in my cat con list is cats can be very annoying. Very, very annoying. They dogs can bark, and they could bark at strangers when you don't want them to and all that. But cats, I'm going to get into that in a moment, some of the stories I have, but I agree with this list. Cats are annoying. So number 4 is cats, because they could jump, they pretty high in most cases. They go wherever they want. A dog, you can corral to a room, you can corral to an area. If he's no good, you can put a little gate up, keep him in a certain, keep him out of an area. But you can't do that with a cat. Cat's going to jump over that gate, go where it wants to, or even if it means that my cat's been up in my cupboard with my coffee mugs, and then I'll see him peek around the corner as if to say, "Hey, look at me, I'm up here," and I'm not supposed to be up there, but I really don't care what you think. So that's a con of cats, I guess. And here's number 5. Number 5, we made 5 on the con list because there were so many with the cat con list. Cat, they want attention when they want it. If you are watching TV, let me tell you a story here, okay? And I agree with this, wants attention when they want it. That's number 5 on the list. But so I'm watching television. Now, I don't get to watch too much television, but when I do, especially recently, my cat decides to jump in front of the TV. I have like a fireplace in front of my television, right, underneath my television. And my cat will jump in front of the TV. Right when I settle down, get comfortable, I'll be relaxed, and, my feet will be up, my slippers will be off. But right when I get comfortable every evening to watch TV, the cat decides to jump up on the television. Now, I will say, hey, get out of the way, move, get down. Cats do not respond to audio, do not respond to you telling them anything. So, and if I ignore it, I might have, my car keys up there, or my glasses, pair of my reading glasses up there. My cat will just knock them down off the fireplace and then just look at me like, hey, just knocked your glasses down. What are you going to do? And eventually, I get up, move him. He goes back there. This goes on back and forth all night. And then, so then, eventually I'll have to get tough with him, right? I have to get tough with the cat eventually. And the cat, when I yell at him, I'll yell at him, and he starts wagging his tail really fast. And then he'll walk away, and then I'll get comfortable again, put my feet up on my hassock, all of that. And right when I do that, he comes over, has to get the last word. He'll either jump up to scare me onto my lap, or I feel him nipping at my ankle, nipping at my leg. But it's crazy, but I feel like he always has to get the last word. I don't know, AJ, you don't have cats, but there's something going on in their brains that, I just want to get in there. If I could take a peek and find out what's going on in their brains and what they're actually really thinking, it's not going to be nice, because they turn, they turn on you in a minute. I feel if I passed away, that my cat would eat me before the sun came up. There'd be nothing left. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I like my cat. He's, he'll come, he'll cuddle up on me and keep me warm, and I think I'm just keeping him warm. But, they don't understand all of that stuff with them. But so anyway, so I get tough with them when I have to. And so what I'll do is I'll have my feet up on my hassock, and he'll come over, and I'll tug, and I'll have a blanket on sometimes because it gets chilly in the evening, and he'll tug on my leg because he wants me to put the blanket in such a way where my feet are spread apart, and he can crawl up in between my ankles on top of the hassock to stay warm, and he'll stay there for an hour if I let him. But, you got to move sometimes, and if I move, he gets angry. and he'll give me a little nip on my toes or something. But yeah, so um, yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So here's another one too. I have a filtered water dispenser on my refrigerator, right? And every time I go to get water, he meows until I get a glass out of my cupboard, a regular glass. Even though he's got a water bowl and food always available to him, he'll get a he won't stop meowing until I get a glass and fill it up with some fresh water, filtered water from my refrigerator, and I give it to him on the table, and he drinks it. And it it's just keeps happening, just keeps going on, and he does this every night. And then if I'm eating lunch during the day, I have to give him a stop and snack, and he won't stop meowing until I give him something. And I have these little what are they? I call them mini soups, but they're these little soupy things that we give them in a little disc, and it's like a snack, and you peel off the top and put it down, um and oh, forget it. If me and Mrs. Mafia go into separate rooms, he gets angry. He'll start whipping his tail around something fierce, and until we both sit down and watching TV together. So that's my experience with cats. So I'm definitely going to go with those cat cons are very, very, very factual, very factual. But next, we're going to go over to our dogs, and this will be the dog pros. We'll start with dogs are very, very loyal. Right? They're very loyal to their owners, to members of their family. Very, very loyal animal. I mean, you could, and it's a shame because some people don't treat dogs very nice, but you can be very mean to dogs all the time, and all they want to do is please their owner and be loved, and they're very, uh, you know, very loyal, very loyal. So I agree with that. That was the number one dog pro, and the number two, they can be trained to do tricks, sit, fetch, and they can be trained for protection. Yeah, it's true because I've never seen a cop cat. They call canines, but I've never seen a cat nine. You know, um, and they're not as picky with food. Well, that's true. Although, yeah, I want to say that's true. My dog and will eat anything, and I definitely can tell you there's not much my dog won't eat, but my cat, he's picky. He won't. He won't eat the 1% or drink the 1% milk. He's got to get the whole milk. Or certain brands of coffee, he'll try to get into my coffee cup after I've drinking, and there's only a little bit left, and it's cooled down. And if it's not the right kind, he has to bury the cup. But he does. Some he'll give it a go. He'll try some kinds, and very picky. So there's only 3 for the dog pros. As I guess there weren't that many dog pros that came through. But we got the dog cons list. So the dog cons list, the number one on the dog cons list is they're smelly, mostly all the time. I don't know if you get your dog groomed, but just generally speaking, yeah, dogs will be smelly. They're very smelly animals. Then you have number 2 is bad breath. Well, yeah, if you can brush your dog's teeth, but if you don't brush your dog's teeth, yeah, it's the dogs can definitely have some real bad breath there. And I've had some folks, and not my dogs, but other folks' dogs, and they, very nice animals, but their dog's breath, oh boy, you did not want them on your lap. Which brings us to number 3 in the dog con list is most dogs think they're a lot smaller than they are. If you've got a big Marmaduke type dog, it thinks it's a lap dog. But there are some dogs I've seen, especially we were talking about Chihuahuas earlier. They think they're elephants. They think they're these big, they're walking around with their shoulders all buffed out. They think they're a strong little dog, but for the most part, I think dogs think they're smaller than they are, and they all want to be lap dogs, which we know is not always possible. So what kind of, okay, yeah, well, AJ just asked me, well, what kind of dogs and cats do I have? Well, I'm going to tell everyone. This is the big reveal, right? As long as you guys like and subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, Tooclevermafia.com, is our website, www.tooclevermafia.com. But yeah, like and subscribe on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, and our YouTube handle is all Too Clever Mafia. And then also, of course, whatever podcast service you're listening to, whether it's Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Breaker, all of those, make sure that you're liking and subscribing to the actual podcast. But so here's the big reveal. Big reveal. Okay, so years ago, I had I had a couple of what do they call them, mutts, I guess. Yeah, a couple of mutt dogs that I adopted from the pound. We ended up with a Shih Tzu, cute little dog, little furry dog, cute, very cute little lap dog. Mrs. Mafia really liked that, and then we thought we had another Shih Tzu, and we ended up with a Lhasa Apso when I grew up. But it ended up being Lhasa Apso. Kind of a crazy dog, very lovable. We had trouble all through that dog's life, and I don't know, 14, 15 years. Especially the last half, house training, just never could get it down. Never could get it down with that dog. And then later on, we had a couple of, one was a miniature Schnauzer. And the other one was, again, we thought it was a Schnauzer, and I think it was some sort of cross between a Jack Russell, because it's a Barker. We still have that now, and I think she's, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10. She's a good little pup. One of those dogs, a little bit big to be a lap dog, but she wants to be a lap dog, so kind of know that. And then, what about my cats? Okay, so AJ wants to know about my cats. So, aside from just regular run-of-the-mill cats that we've had over the years, we did have a purebred Siamese cat. Great cat. Probably one of my favorite cats of all time. Most part because it was very lazy. Did a lot of sleeping. Didn't really bother me. Didn't jump up on stuff. We didn't want it to. It was a little bit bigger of a cat, so it didn't really jump to the high places. Probably one of my favorite cats. We had what we have now. I had to ask Miss Mafia and write this down because I didn't even know what kind of cat it is. But it was, we thought, I guess we were trying to get another Siamese cat, and she ended up choosing, it's what they call a color point oriental short hair. Looks like a Siamese cat to me, just less colors, same facial structure, all that kind of stuff. But Mrs. Mafia really liked that breed. And this cat I have now, this is the one I was talking about. Oh boy, it's young, so maybe when it gets older, it'll calm down a bit. But that's what I'm dealing with, folks. So right now I have one dog, one cat. There's other pets, but not going to get into that because that's just not what it's about. So cat versus dogs, pros and cons. So through all that, am I a dog person or am I a cat person? Well, I like dogs and I like cats. I like cats. My pro is they take care of themselves for the most part. I like that part. Dogs, I do not like the part you have to walk them and do all that, clean up after them and all that stuff. But on the other side of it, I like that dogs tend to be more obedient and they can listen to, learn tricks and listen to commands, and where my cat probably knows what I'm saying. A couple of times I'm like, hey, you got food in your bowl, just kind of talking out loud to the cat, and the cat will look over the bowl and look at me and be like, you call that food? But I think the cat knows what I'm saying, but just chooses not to listen. Or, just going to sit there and say, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm in charge of this house, not you. So that's pretty much where we're at. No, AJ's saying, well, you really didn't say whether you're a cat or dog person. I think I'm a little bit of both. I don't think I'm 100% either way. I think I like cats. I like dogs. I like most animals, and we'll leave it at that. So we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back after these words from our sponsors. AJ, is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be right back with a couple of words from our sponsors. If you don't want to listen to the sponsors, that's great. But in the meantime, head over and like and subscribe, please. Sign up, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. definitely please sign up for. You'll get alerts for our new shows and all of our fun stuff that we're going to do. But we really do appreciate it. So we will be right back after this word from our sponsor. Unless, depending on where you are geographically, the sponsor doesn't apply to you, right? Yeah, well, yeah. You could have told AJ. You could have told me that before I cut the break, telling me that not everybody's going to hear a commercial. So if you hear a commercial, great. If not, even better. We'll be right back. Okay, hello, my Mafians. I am your host, Tooclevermafia, and you're listening to the Tooclevermafia podcast. And I have AJ over there in my sound booth, and as always, another great intro, AJ. And AJ, I'd like to start off by saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really took a shot at you at the end of the last segment because I was kind of fed the outro music, if we call it in the biz, and I thought we were going to a commercial break, but apparently some of our sponsors are more local and in certain areas, so not everybody is going to hear a sponsored segment. And if you're listening to us on the podcast and you're listening to us as the full segment sometimes, as opposed to the individual parts that we do, you may or may not hear an ad. So, the ads pay the bills, folks, and we do appreciate you listening to them. But I do want to kind of got a little snappy with you there, AJ, and I want to kind of say I'm sorry about that. And no, I'm not going to shed a tear about it, but I definitely don't want you to think I don't care and don't really enjoy what you bring to the table for this podcast. And those intros are second to none. But except for the time that you created your own intro and we 86'd it, but you got that anywhere? You want to play it now? Well, let's hear it again. Maybe I'll have a second opinion. Cue it up if you got it. Let me hear it.
Hi folks, it's time for another episode of the Tooclevermafia podcast.
I remember this.
Hope you are doing great. I'm AJ, the guy in the sound booth. Mm-hmm. Now I present to you the host of the show, Clever Mafia. Here we go.
Yeah, that kind of didn't have that level of excitement that we needed, I think. Right? I don't think it had that level. We wanted to go something a little bit more exciting. And, the music jingle that you do at the beginning of every one of our podcasts is great. But we didn't want to do the recording because I think in part was I didn't like it. But the other part was we wanted it to be live every show. So here's what it is. So, Mafians, we're going to wrap up our Cats vs. Dog episode and hope everybody enjoyed it. And keep with those tweets coming because we're getting a boatload of them and really enjoy the interaction as well. But don't forget to check us out over on www.tooclevermafia.com. And as always, we need you to go like and subscribe. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, right? YouTube, they got the little bell icon. If you like and subscribe on YouTube, you'll get notified every time we drop a release. And from what I'm being told, AJ, is we are going to maybe possibly go to twice a week. Is that just, or we're going to offer bonus content in the middle of the week. And then, so you don't want to miss that. So sign up, like, subscribe to all the podcasts so you get, whatever one you're listening to, whether it's Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, Breaker, Radio Public, Bullhorn. Like and subscribe on the podcast itself. Like and subscribe on all our social media feeds so you can be notified and you don't miss out on all our great content. And since we know you do love our content of the wonderful Too Clever Mafia and Too Clever Mafia podcast, head over to Patreon. Why not? Show us your appreciation and donate. It helps keep the show running. I can keep AJ on staff for another week or two, depending if he's going to work for peanuts or not. We don't know. AJ's allergic for peanuts, so he'll be working for nothing. Or you can head over to Teespring and you want to buy yourself a mug with my mug on it, T-shirt. We got all kinds of sweaters, hoodies. The fall is coming. We got joggers over there. We got all kinds of fun stuff. I think we're gonna have. I don't know if the masks are up. The face masks with our logo on it. But feel free to check it out over there, because I might check it out as well over after the show, and maybe we've been giving away some free merchandise. I know I gotta be careful what I say, but free merchandise to some of our Twitter followers who have been leaving some great comments and giving us some great ideas for some new content and a new way to go about it. So you never know. You never know, right, AJ? Nope. You never know what a tweet or what do they call it when you drop something on Facebook? A post, right? Yeah. Or an Instagram post on Insta. Yeah. We'd love to see, by the way, pictures of your dogs and cats. If you want to drop a photo of them and tag our Instagram handle, Tooclevermafia. We'd love to check those out as well. And who knows, we may use them in one of our videos or shows or something. You never can tell with us. We're just full of surprises over here at the Too Clever Mafia podcast. So I am your host, Too Clever Mafia, and you've been listening to the Too Clever Mafia podcast. I have AJ over in the sound booth. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, or next few days, whenever you listen to our show. And that's all I have to say about that, my Mafians. Bye-bye for now.